Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to SAGNY and District 1's monthly webinar. Today we are very fortunate to have Mary Ellen Sokowski, the Scarlet Marketeer. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. A shameless plug for our new website, sagny.org. I hope that you've all gotten a chance to visit it. We have all our updated events and programs, including updated member benefits. Please check it out. Please also visit us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Mary Ellen has provided her PowerPoint presentation, and it's listed in the handout section, so you can download it for your convenience. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the little portal there, and I will be able to see them and ask Mary Ellen the question. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mary Ellen. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Hello from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. This is Mary Ellen Sokowski, the Scarlet Marketeer, and this is the first time ever that I can remember doing a seminar in fuzzy slippers while doing my laundry. So I'm thrilled to be sharing a part of your day and talking about one of my favorite topics, which is networking for even more business. So welcome aboard, and if you've got a question, there's a little box in the little area to your right. You can type in a question, or you want to just type, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, let me know that you're here." I'd love to read it. So here we go, a networking adventure. So why in the world, all right, why in the world am I teaching a networking seminar? There I am. And I wanted to share with you my father, who was a cowboy from Montana. It is absolutely true. He never met a person that was a stranger. He made friends everywhere in his life, and no one taught him how. He, went to a little red schoolhouse, and he lived in the Badlands in Montana and chased wild horses for fun. But everywhere he met, he made a friend, and that was a great example for me. And then we fast forward to my first Dallas show. Now, I will tell you, I've been in the industry 36 years now, and way back when, if some of you are veterans like me, the first PPAI show was in Dallas. And I remember sitting there my very first year in the lobby of the Lausanne Atoll, looking around, seeing people greeting each other, hugging, and knowing each other. And I felt like a lonely soul. I was 24 years old, and I thought, oh my goodness, I hope one day I will have one or two really good friends like that in the industry. And I'm thrilled to know that I have thousands now since then. My first regional association meeting was with PAPA, formerly SAC-DV. And I'm proud to say that I've served in virtually every committee and board post at SAC-DV, loving every minute. It was the way I met and learned about the industry. And I encourage you all, if you're not a member, to join your regional. I worked for two wonderful suppliers who allowed me the opportunity to network. And one was ASI, where I started my career writing copy about products, promotional products, and then grew into director of marketing there. And the next one was Bodick and Rhodes, and I was there for 16 years. I then had the wonderful opportunity to serve not only on PAPA as president, but on the PPAI board of directors. And it was an amazing both responsibility but opportunity to meet people all around the world. And both of those were two of the highlights of my career. And finally, when Bodick and Rhodes laid me off, and I was forced to start my own business, I launched my business through networking, calling on everyone that I knew via telephone and meeting in person, but also with social media. And in 8 weeks, I had 13 clients through networking. So my ultimate networking achievement is the wonderful man that I married 3 years ago, which I'll probably mention later on in the session. Yeah, that's networking too. But I will also share with you some of my mistakes in networking, hopefully, so that you will not repeat those. You're going to get the benefit of those today. So I'm going to show you a quote, and I want you to see if you can tell me who said it. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Now, who do you think said that? Anybody know? It's the great Dale Carnegie. And let's just look at that for a minute. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in them rather than getting out there and networking yourself and trying to get people interested in you. It's not about you. It's about them. So with that in mind, let's talk about what we're going to cover today, what networking really is. We're going to go over some best practices and worst practices in the field, the right way to do an elevator speech, and there is a right way, and I learned after 20 years of doing it wrong, how to be memorable, how to creatively follow up, the best places to network, and a few tips skimming the surface on social networking. All right, so what in the world is networking? And I asked a lot of people, and it kind of narrows down to this. It's creating a group of acquaintances and associates and keeping it active through regular communication for mutual benefit. Now, there's a couple of key words in there that are very important. So you've created this group, you keep it active, and you've got to do it on a regular basis. But it's not just for your benefit, it's also for their benefit. And it's based on the question, how can I help, and not what can I get? And I have to tell you, when I first was sent out to network for my company, I looked for opportunities to sell. Push, 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 sell, sell, sell. And I realized it wasn't about that at all. It was the best networkers were people who helped other people. So, okay, the number one best practice is to assess yourself. Do you ever, before you go in for a presentation, do you rehearse, here's what I do, here's what I do best? You know, I do. Before I do a seminar, before I go into a new client, I'm constantly rehearsing that in my mind. What's great about me? What am I really selling? What do I offer the person that I'm going to be visiting with? But also, on the back end, know what you want from them. Do you want an appointment? What do you want from them? Do you want to get to the next step in our relationship? You have to know your first goal before you walk into an appointment. Now, I'm going to bring up LinkedIn, and I'm going to ask you a really tough question. Are you in LinkedIn, and do you have a thorough profile? I will tell you, it is the number one place where people go to see if you are a legitimate business person. And no matter what industry you're in, LinkedIn is your advanced calling card. What does your profile say? If it doesn't, if it isn't complete, if it isn't full, you're missing out. So either do it yourself or get someone to do it for you, like a company, a copywriter, get an intern from college to help you complete your LinkedIn profile. Look at your profile. Have someone else look at your profile. Make sure it's up to date and current. And then work it. Once a week, work it. Look at it. Look at other people that you know. Refer other people. If you're referring other people, they're going to refer you. The more referrals that you have or recommendations you have, the more people think that you're a credible source. And also, how many of you have Googled yourself? Google yourself, see what's out there. The more you can put out on your own, that's good about you, the better off you're going to get. You want to control what's out there about you. And I want you to look at Stephanie Salmon's, the profile that's up on the screen. The 2 lines that are under her name, digital and social media strategy to financial advisors, executives and firms, CEO of Wired Advisor. Those 2 lines are what comes up on Google and Bing and Yahoo searches. Those lines are where you want to pack in the keywords that you want associated about you. If you didn't know that, this is a true, absolute gem of information that can help people who are looking for you or an authority in the area of what you do. So make sure that is up to date. Other best practices. You should be making time to network, just like you do to pay your bills, that you've got to work on projects. You need to block out time every week for you to network. And schedule it as a part of your day, a part of your week, a part of your month. You've got to fill your pipeline and dedicate time to working it. Also schedule your follow-up time, because if you're not following up, the networking is pointless. Fill your pipeline. Now, when you walk into, let's say you go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting or an industry event, set goals for yourself. Say, you know what, I'm going to leave with 5 new contacts. And you may say, I'm going to meet with current contacts, whatever. Set goals. If you don't set goals, you're not going to reach goals. You're going to collect a certain number of business cards. You're going to build your database, whatever it is. Develop a certain number of leads. You're going to refer a certain number of prospects. And what I mean by that is, you may see someone that you've known for a long time. You get into a nice discussion and you can't help them. They're not a prospect for you, but perhaps you can refer them to someone else. That's part of networking for their mutual benefit. They're going to remember you for doing that and hopefully bring you business. Being memorable. This is one of the things that I love. If any of you know me, my company name is The Scarlet Marketeer. And when you see me doing seminars at Expo East or PPAI, you'll notice I usually wear red shoes. I do something to be memorable. I wear something red because that's who I am. My mother always used to say that she always wore the reddest lipstick, and she told me, you're not dressed, Mary Ellen, until you have your lipstick on, and make it as bright and as red as possible. When I was thinking of a name for my company, I thought of my mother and our love for red, and so I used the red to stand out. How do you stand out? Is it something you say? Is it something you do? Is it something you wear? But you should be memorable in something that you do. Whatever that is, whatever is your style. And always, always, always have business cards everywhere, in your pockets, in your purse, wherever. Or, in our industry, a promotional product that has your information. So think of some great opening lines that people use. And you should have a whole bunch of them in your arsenal. You should practice them. You should have written them down. And sometimes my style is I like to be funny. Sometimes I'll be in an elevator and people will come on and I'll say, hey, welcome to the elevator. And people crack up laughing. If I get them to laugh, their guard goes down and suddenly they're more ready to start a discussion. Or, you know, if I'm at a cocktail party or something, I always gravitate toward the food table or the snacks and say, hey, what's good on the snack table? Because everyone has food in common. So use whatever area you're in, use whatever lines that you're comfortable with, such as, you know, what brings you here tonight? You know, ask people good, open-ended questions that allow them to talk to you, not just say yes or no. Questions are the key, as you all know, in selling. And before I go into an appointment or an interview or whatever, I always have a list of questions that I ask. And, you know, some people I'll say, well, when you go into a client, do you have a questionnaire written out? And some people say no. Well, I do. And I have to say, it shows people, wow, you're prepared for this meeting. I have them written down. I even show them the question. Here's what we're going to discuss today. And people are kind of blown away. They know that I have my stuff together. So I suggest that for you as well. And then really listen. And this for me, since I'm the talker all the time, this is the hard part. They say listen 80%, talk 20%. And it's, I'll share with you a story I saw on a blog from Greg Mazzullo, who is the owner of Proforma. And he shared this wonderful short blog about he walked in, and early in his career, he walked into a potential client that he'd been trying to get a hold of and get an appointment with for a long time. He finally gets the appointment. He goes into her office and looks around, and they start talking, and she said something, and he said, well, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And at that point, the woman stands up and says, I'm sorry, I can't ever do business with you, and I need you to leave. And then suddenly he looked around the room and realized that there were cat pictures all over her office. And she was a diehard cat lover. And that one little remark that he made turned her off to a future of business. And it's a wonderful lesson that we really need to listen not only with our ears, but with our eyes too. And especially some of the comments that you make when you meet people. Wow, you know, hey, they might be wearing something that's unique or carrying something that's unique. It helps you get into their mind, into their world by asking about themselves. And write it all down. Okay, I'm in my 50s now, and I don't know about you, but I take notes because I forget. And even the best of us forget. I write what's going on around me at the time. I write down what the person was wearing. I write down what they've said. And wow, I make sure I write down what I promised I was going to do for them. And when I committed to do that, all on that little business card or that piece of paper, or forget about it. It's gone for me. So I encourage you all to write things down. And remember this. It's one of my favorite things. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And the best networkers I know have looked me in the eye, have smiled and welcomed me and made me feel like the most important person in the room. And that is an example of true networking. And I encourage you to remember that the next time you meet a new person. I asked some of my distributor supplier friends to tell me some of their secrets. And here is one of them that I learned very early. And the great Joanne Lance from Geiger once told me, Mary Ellen, never sit next to someone you know at an industry event. And how many of us are guilty of going into a cocktail party and we sit down with our friends? Or worse yet, sit down with people we work with. That's terrible. We're there to network with other people. So I make sure, I'm not dissing anybody, because if you know me, you know, if I know you, I love you. But I'm going to find somebody in the room that I don't know and sit next to them because I want to meet a new prospect. I want to have a new friend or many new friends when I walk out of that meeting. And here's another one, and I was told I can never reveal who said this, but this I thought was brilliant. Now, if you're ready to walk into a cocktail party or a meeting and the room is empty, do not choose your seat yet. To choose your seat, wait until half of the room is seated and then select yours. Now here's why. Because if half the people are seated, you get to look around the room, see the open seats, and find someone that you want to sit next to. Someone you want to get to know, that new person in the room, or a good prospect. Choose your seat, ask if you can join them, and sit down. Now, if someone you know sits on the other side of you, that's fine. You might get something new, but at least you get to choose your dinner companion. If you're late, you don't get a choice. You have to sit anywhere. If you walk into the room and it's empty and you choose your seat first, your dinner companions will choose you and you don't have a choice. And that time sitting at dinner is too important. I just thought this was a brilliant tip on waiting for the right time to choose your seat at a dinner or a function. What you don't want is this. You don't want to be next to that guy. And we've all been next to that guy or that girl who is not a prospect, who you just would rather be sitting and having a meaningful conversation with someone else. The other thing that I learned early, I had an old boss who I'd come back from a networking meeting and he'd say, so how many sales did you make? How much new business do we have? And I'd be, wait a minute, I just went to a regional networking meeting. I'm just getting to know people. Down the road, that often turned into a relationship, which resulted in business. But good networking takes time and nurture. It does not happen overnight. So any of your bosses out there expecting miracles right away, it doesn't happen. But with continual networking, you will develop relationships that will make wonderful things happen. All right, let's get to some follow-up. The best salespeople in the industry, best salespeople anywhere, are masters of follow-up. They do what they say they are going to do. Whatever they say, whatever they promise, they will deliver. So what I always try to do is under-promise. Say, you know what, I'm going to get back to you next week. And if I can get back to them the next day or the day after that, before next week, I have over-delivered. And I'm showing precedent that I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do, and I'm going to do even better than that. So follow-up is key. Here's some other follow-up tips. Try to contact one person per day. So that if you went to a meeting and you got 10 business cards, over the next 5 to 10 days, contact at least one of those people per day, whether it's an email, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a text, whatever it is. And don't take no personally. If they say they're not interested, fine. You say, they was just great getting to know you, and I hope down the line I can perhaps refer you to somebody. Perhaps they may not be a customer, but they may refer you down the road. If you fail in your follow-up, follow up another way. Sometimes I had one of our salespeople when I was at Boudica Road said to me, you know what? I keep sending emails to this person and they're not responding. And I said, well, have you tried picking up the phone? Have you tried, do you have their cell phone, sending them a text? There's many different ways to follow up. I've even left messages on people's cars when they didn't get back to me, in a funny kind of way. Email is easy to send. It's just as easy to ignore. So be creative in your follow-up and be organized with your leads. There's many different ways to scan your business cards today to keep track of your leads for you. So be creative in doing that as well. All right, for a little levity here, I'm going to show you some bad networkers, and I know you've met some of these before, so here you go. I'm sure I'm going to hear some laughter. We're going to hear it on my end anyway. Okay, I was at a food show week before last with my husband, and I'm walking by a booth, and this young woman is standing there handing me her business card from a personal chef. And rather than engage me and say, hey, do you ever have, dinner parties, or, do you do any corporate organizing or meeting planning? She just shoved a business card into your hands. Well, guess what? I walked 3 booths down and there was a giant trash can. I looked into the trash can and I saw 6 of the business cards in there. What a waste. So don't be one of the card pushers. Be an engager. I don't get a word in edgewise dealer. And you know what? We've all seen these people at shows that before they even ask you how you're doing or what you're specializing in, or what project are you working on, they're pushing their product. You don't want to be one of these people. The whiner, the complainer. You meet someone at a networking party and, oh, the food stinks and this is awful and I hate my boss. Oh my goodness. You don't want to be that girl. The faker, the bad joke teller, the yuck, 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 hardy, har, har person. You've met them. You don't want to be them. The person who's name dropping, I was with, Tom Brady and so, and I know this person and that person. They're a very insecure person, and you just don't want to be that. The Miss I'm better than you. Remember in Pretty Woman, that person that had that attitude, and Julia Roberts came back and spent a whole lot of money later on, but not with her. Yes, some people think by putting on a beautiful clothes and having a big attitude that's going to attract prospects. It's not. It's turning people off. Some people do things just for attention. They dress in costumes. They do things ostentatiously. For some people, a minority, it may work, but other people want to ignore that person. You want to steer away from that person. The person who's really tough, I know purchasing agents that are forced to go to some of these networking events. They're really tough. You don't want to be that tough guy. And then there's the person that never wants to do any real business with you. They send you Facebook requests and things like that. They're there looking pretty, not doing much business. We want to avoid that person. And finally, the person that's full of themselves, we'll just let them be. But sometimes, just sometimes, despite appearances, these can turn out to be good customers. I said sometimes. So don't ever dismiss anyone as irrelevant, although you may think they, take their card anyway. Follow up with an email anyway. If there's no good business, you have every right to move on. Now, people often ask me, what if I meet someone I really want to get rid of? And I say, just remember that you are in charge of your own time and you are in charge of your networking space. When it's time to cut off the conversation, interject with, wow, hey, ask them another question that allows you to get out, or allows you to say, you know what, I may have someone that you might want to know, and introduce them to someone else. Your job as a networker in a networking situation is to meet them, get to know them a little bit, and then introduce them to someone else. I even say this at cocktail parties when I'm with someone who may be an introvert and maybe had found in me, I'm their new best friend, and I say to them, you know what? All right, I got to know you, you got to know me. My job is now to get you to the next person. I met so-and-so. Let me go introduce you to and leave you together. And do that. Introduce them to someone else. That's a way for you to A, get rid of them, but B, to then go on to another new person and show people that here's a good practice at networking is to spend a limited amount of time using your time wisely in order to get to know someone and then move on. Now let's go over some handshakes. There's do's and don'ts in good handshakes. Here are the top 10 bad business handshakes, ones to avoid. The sweaty palmer, always. If you know you're going to meet someone, wipe your hand. If you have sweaty palms, wipe your hand before you extend it. The lobster claw, when you don't really want to meet someone and you give them like, a half-hearted, here's my hand, that is unacceptable. That says, I really don't want to meet you, but I'm too kind of good for you. You don't want to do that. The fist bump, although, it's trendy, it's just that. It's trendy. It's not good business. And it says, I really don't want to germify myself with you by really shaking your hand. The wrestler. What you don't want to do is clasp someone's hand and then show that you have more power than them by flipping the hand over. That says you want control of the situation. That is not acceptable. What is also not acceptable is, and it's something I'm guilty of, when you clasp someone's hand and you're so excited to see them, you use your other hand and place that on top of the other hand. And like, you think you're giving them a warm hello, but it is actually showing, I want control over this. And it is not acceptable, particularly when a woman is doing it to a man or a man is doing that to a woman. That is not acceptable. The phantom, when the person kind of goes to give the hand and it kind of falls away. Not good. Not good protocol. The lingerer. This is a creepy kind of handshake. Usually when someone's really excited to meet someone else and they don't let go of the hand. They won't let go. Ooh, no, that's not good. Just cut it. The decliner, when someone says, oh no, I can't shake your hand. I have a cold, or for whatever reason, the decliner is a no-no. Remember, you want to leave them with a feeling like you're glad to meet them. This is an absolute downer. The tickler, this is another super creepy handshake, and that's when someone maintains the handshake and then tries to tickle you a little bit. That's actually a sexual harassment in a way. Do not do the tickle. The vice, when someone grabs your hand, squeezes it so hard to show that they have power, that is also a huge no-no. And the dead fish is probably the worst of all, where it's so limp that they don't really care. An awful handshake. All right, let's get to a good elevator speech. I did a wrong elevator speech many, many, many years. And then I went to a networking class and learned the proper way to do an elevator speech. All of you probably have what you think is a terrific elevator speech. However, there is an even better way to do it. The goal is to engage, and it's to make what you say meaningful to the person that you're meeting, but also memorable to them. So you're going to have to leave it up to your creativity, and I know you all have it being in this industry. The way to do it is to ask questions, and you have prepared answers in response based on what you will be hearing over and over and over again. You are to listen 80%, talk 20%. Your goal is to build a relationship, is to build trust. It is not to make a sale, okay? You are to build trust and a little mini relationship before you get off the elevator. So you're going to listen, 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 and relate your speech to what they do. Before you say, hi, I'm Mary Ellen, and I have a marketing company. They don't care about that. You have to use phrases that earn you trust, such as, so tell me what you do. What brings you here? Tell me, what do you do in your job? And listen to them. And then you say, well, hey, maybe I can help. Maybe I can't. If I can help you, I'll tell you. If not, I'll tell you that too, or I can recommend somebody who can help you. Or I can be a source to refer you. Well, suddenly their ears are very open in order to get a referral. If they're a prospect, you know what? Why don't I set up a time where we can talk? The goal is to get an appointment, not make a sale. That's what a good elevator speech does. Finally, when you're following up, do it creatively. And I don't mean with everything that you do. I try to do it because that's one of my creative things, that my business is creativity. But I will tell you a story. There was a distributor that was asked to bid and be one of the 5 bidders, that horrible bid word, on a program for a meeting where it was a $40,000 budget. And it was a sales meeting. And he was brought in. He was lucky. He was the only person that was asked to bid who flew in to actually meet the person organizing the meeting. So he had an advantage. And when he flew in and walked into the prospect's office, he noticed there was baseball memorabilia all over the office, not only from his favorite national teams, but also his kids' little leagues and things like that. So this very smart promotional counselor listened, wrote down everything that he could, and then went back and went to a sporting goods store and bought a softball and asked everyone on his team at the distributor office to sign the ball. Put that ball in a FedEx package and sent it with a proposal back to the prospect and said, our whole team is hoping to hit a grand slam for you for your sales meeting. Well, not only did that distributor get the bid, but the other business that resulted in a $200,000 account, because the person listened and reacted very creatively. Now, what did that really cost? And you wouldn't do that on every account, but what did that cost to send a softball? FedEx, you were already setting the proposal, but you did it in a creative, meaningful way. And ladies and gentlemen, we're in the promotional products industry. What are we really selling? Our creativity. So use yours in following up. Okay, the best place is where you network. Now, if you're a supplier on right now on here, well, industry events are the best place for you to network. And I want to share with you one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite people in the industry. I'm going to go, oops, let me go back. Suppliers, I know it's really, really tough. You're tired, but there are still cocktail parties. There are still dinners. And sometimes it's so easy to say, oh, do I really have to go? Make yourself go, because the best relationships, the best networking you do will be at those events when you can sit and talk or stand, talk, have a drink, have a cocktail, have an hors d'oeuvre with somebody, and really chat about life, chat about kids, chat about sports, whatever it is, and bond with people in a way that leaves them knowing that they're special and that you can help them. So on the distributor side, I asked distributors, where do you network? And this is what they told me. Number one place people do is at chambers of commerce or other contact networks. And they also said that they do BNI and Mastermind and other strong contact networks. They also said they belong to Rotary, Lions, Kiwanis, Optimus community service clubs, and that brings together like-minded, good people, honest people, and they really love supporting those events. Also, some people told me they look at the key areas of where their clients are. So if they're healthcare, they look at healthcare professional associations or building professional associations. Whatever their clients belong to, they often piggyback and join those organizations. Other social or business organizations such as the JCs or business clubs in the area, they also network there. Or if you're a woman, women's business organizations like WeBank, they're fantastic. Yay, women want to support women these days. Get out there and join. Get out there and just go to the functions. If you're a young entrepreneur, there are other young entrepreneurs, the YPO, Vistage, Small Giants. Young people want to network with other people. Entrepreneurs want to support other entrepreneurs. This is a wonderful way to network. And everywhere, anywhere you can, whether it's the soccer field or wherever, you can network everywhere. My favorite networking quote is from Kathy Miller at Geiger. And she said, Mary Ellen, you've got to show up to go up. I adore that quote because if you're not out there networking, doing it as a part of your business every week, every month, then you're not going to build your pipeline. You've got to show up to go up. Let's talk a little bit about social networking. And I could do 3 seminars just on the topic, but I want to leave you with the top tips in social networking. Number 1, as I said already, you ought to be on LinkedIn and you ought to be posting on LinkedIn at least once a week. There's an area that you can post things on LinkedIn. And it doesn't, you don't have to come up with your own wonderful topic or content. If you're not a great writer, find other things that other people have written and share that tip because chances are most people have not seen it. I want you to remember that social networking, it's called social for a reason. It's not here just to sell, but it's here to engage. It's here to inform. It's here to entertain your network. And what drives me crazy, I will see a lot of people on their social networkers, particularly suppliers and some distributors, that just sell, 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 sell. Here's a new product. Here's a new product. Buy this product. Push this product. Guess what? That's not why people are there. They want to know, how can I use the product? What will it do for us? Tell them a story. Don't just push. It's called social for a reason. It's not a personal page, so you're not going to say, here's what I ate for lunch, but it is a business. There are likers, not friends, particularly on Facebook. You want to post relevant things, business tips, things that are going to help people in their business, in their life. You should be posting between Monday and Friday between 10 and 4. That is the best time to post. Especially on Facebook or Instagram, no more than 2 posts a day and no more than once a week on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn should be for business type postings only, unless you're having an anniversary in your business, you're celebrating an open house, you're congratulating an employee. It should be business topics only. Respond promptly. So if someone posts something on your Facebook page that isn't positive and they're complaining, transparency is the key. Post something back that says, thank you for letting me know. I'm going to look into this. And when you actually resolve it, Get back and say, I'm so glad that we resolved this together. People, that goes a long way with transparency, with others observing your social posts. Here's some more networking tips. You should build relationships with content. Don't preach, engage. Content should solve your prospects' challenges, like how am I going to promote my name better? How am I going to grow my customer base? That's what you should be featuring. Use images, things with images, things with color, things with video. Get 40 to 60% higher readings than without it. People loved to share posts, so give them things that they can share. And that means if you're a supplier, don't put any contact information on the pictures or in your feed. Just say, here's a great idea and here's how to do it. Build alliances with businesses that complement yours. So if you know a lot of your customers are home developers or hospitals, give them tips that help their market. There are many online groups in the industry, and you can join those groups, not only in our industry, but in the home builders industry. On LinkedIn, there's many different groups. Join the groups, see what they're talking about, and do posts that relate to their industry. And measure your results. You can measure everything. Facebook gives you wonderful statistics on things that you post. And cross-pollinate your posts and promotions. So if you're promoting something on Facebook, well then have your voice message, have your email signatures also promote the same thing. Frequency works in marketing. Okay, here's 5 things buyers want from social networking. Most people do not know this. Here is what people really want from your social networking posts. The number one thing is they want to feel special. They want discounts, giveaways, or advance notice for their followers. So for my Facebook friends, you get a week extra notice of a sale. They don't mind knowing a sale, but they don't want sale, 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 product push, 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 push. They want to feel special. Number 2, they want tips and hints and trends on what they can do to be more profitable or knowledgeable. They want to know, how do I use your product? How do I market myself better? They also want tips and trends that they can repost on their pages. They want marketing tips, recognition tips that they can use, particularly in their industries. They want to know, and you will get more response to these than anything else, what's going on at your company. Whether you dress your kid up, as a Power Ranger this year or as Wonder Woman, you will get so many likers for personal things. People want to get to know you. They want to see what you're doing. They want to know who has the messiest cubicle at your place. They want to celebrate things with you. They want to get to know you. This is a relationship business. So post things about your company, your people, your location, your milestones, and have fun with it. And the last thing they want is the ability to respond to you, to engage with you, to ask you questions, to fill out polls, to give you their opinion, to share themselves. Pictures of my dog day when you're featuring a pet product, to put a funny caption on something. Some people love this kind of stuff, so give it to them. And finally, as my grandmother used to say, if you can't say anything nice, don't post anything negative on your page or in your personal postings, because it never goes away unless you take it down. And I'm going to end with 3 things. Number 1, there's 2 case studies in networking that I like to share with you. The first one is kind of funny. And it was a Chamber of Commerce meeting that this company went to and met a great new business. And this man was a florist. And he said, listen, the new business is, I'm opening, and could have been a really good prospect for him for sending out bouquets and things. So the person, the florist, sent to this company on their grand opening a wonderful, beautiful basket. Unfortunately, it arrived and it said, "Rest in peace." Well, the florist went crazy and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But just so that you know, the orders got mixed up, and in some funeral home appeared today a floral arrangement that said, 'Good luck in your new location.'" Now, that was a mistake, but it became a memorable mistake once the florist followed up, made good on the error, and they had a lifelong business relationship, because it's not just the mistakes you make, it's how you follow up. The second case I want to share with you is there was a very young student, a college student, and it was her final year at school, and she had a good fire in her belly, and she wanted to learn from the big guys, the masters in her area. So she studied a lot of local sculptors. This was an art student in an arts college in Philadelphia, and she fell in love with the artist Steve Tobin. And he was famous for doing sculpture, the Trinity tree and the memorial for 9/11 at the church that did not get harmed in the falling of the Twin Towers. So she told every teacher she knew about that, oh my gosh, I would love to meet him. I would love ultimately, to be an intern for him. I know he's in Bucks County, which isn't far from Philadelphia. So one of her teachers happened to be curating the show, his new show the next weekend. And the art student asked, oh my gosh, could I have an introduction? And she said, my ultimate goal is to get an internship. So she not only got an introduction, but he asked to see her sculpture work. And guess what happens? She not only got an internship, but she got a gift of one of his sculptures, which blends ceramics and glass. She was so excited. She was ready to begin. Here it is. She finishes the semester. She's ready to do her internship and gets a call the week before the internship was to start, and after school ended, he canceled her internship. Now what does she do? She asked everyone she knows. She called and texted every teacher that she knows, and this, hey, they're all off this for the semester. She called everyone, and one of her teachers says, you know what? I heard that there's a group building a wood sculpture that needs some help over the summer. So the person in the middle, in the red dress, the art student, gets this project called the Grotto Project, where for 6 weeks created this wood sculpture. That is the core of the grotto that was built. And she ended up not only being the grunt, but actually doing a lot of the woodwork, because she's really good with her hands. So one day she says, oh my goodness, Mom, I think this grotto is not just some wood sculpture. It was becoming this public artwork that people would write down their prayers. People from churches and synagogues and homeless shelters would write down their prayers from all over the Delaware Valley. And it became a part of this tiny little project that became a citywide countywide exhibition for just one guy who came to Philadelphia for 3 days, the Pope. So her internship became a knotted grotto for Pope Francis. And you can't really see it, but on that plaque is my daughter's name, Savannah Hudica, and there she is. And I will tell you that if it wasn't for networking, she would not have landed that project and several other projects since then. So I will tell you that networking can get you amazing work, amazing projects. And the best kind of networking is when you are an actual mentor. And as you grow and develop your skills, help other people. Use that help, that service, be that resource for people. And suddenly you will be not only growing your business, but growing your contacts, growing your relationships. And the people in this picture, well, that's my daughter. But on the right, there are some of my amazing mentors, and that many of you know and are probably mentored by as well. People that have mentored me, and I'm happy to give back to other people. Be a mentor, and that is the best kind of networking you can do. Finally, in summary, take a deep breath. If you're not a natural networker, just get out there and meet the world, because life is one big networking party. And I hope after this session, you can go and do that and build your business even higher than it already is. I'm thrilled to be chatting with you today. Thank you for having me. If you need a speaker for any of your groups, you can contact me through Donna Jean or any regional association, or if you need any marketing done for your company, happy to help. Thank you all. Have a great fourth quarter.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Thanks everybody who joined us today.